Tam Talks explores life, spirituality, and general weirdness through quirky storytelling and laughter, lighting you up in your life journey. Let's go! All right, welcome back to another episode of Tam Talks. Today, I want to talk about a topic that I feel like I always somehow weave it in, but maybe not. So it's meditation and my journey with meditation. I talked about this in my book. There's a whole chapter on meditation and my experience. But for those of you who have not read my book, I want to share all of this. So I'm thinking about my first exposure to like doing meditation was only, I'm going to say maybe like 13 or 14 or 15 years ago. So it was still like relatively recent, right? So I remember I was a consultant for a direct marketing company. And as people may or may not know, there's a lot of personal growth that happens and a lot of kind of activities and gatherings where you really get to dive into your personal growth, which I love because I've always loved personal growth. So I remember the one time we were at one of the upline, one of their houses, and they did this visualization. And I don't know how many of us were there, 20 or 30. And it was the first time that I had actually participated in group meditation in person, but even probably meditation. So, which it's visualization. It's like it would be a guided meditation. So anyways, all that to say, that first guided visualization was so powerful and so eye-opening. And I've always known about my intuitive gifts. I've always known about my ability to see things and to dream and to just know things. But to be able to visualize that easily and see so clearly, that first visualization was this future self. And it was this whole thing about we go up this beam to outer space and then we go down, and when we land, I think it was 5 years ahead. And then we land in this house where our future self lives, and you knock on the door and then you are greeted by your future self, and then you go and have this conversation. And it was I can still, right now, I can still see that house. I can still see what it looked like on the inside and what the parts of the conversation. I'm just going slowly because I was it looked an awful lot like the house that I'm in right now, but slightly different, but not super different. That's actually crazy. Okay. Anyways, so back to meditation. So that was my first kind of exposure to a guided visualization, a meditation. Around the same time, I would say within the year, two, whatever, I don't even know, so long ago, so I was a professional organizer for myself. I ran my own business, and I met this woman at a networking meeting who I love. I still miss that freaking networking group. Shout out to Christine Hull from, it was called MAWB, MAWB. It was Mississauga Area Women in Business. Holy crow, she is phenomenal. And she runs such a wicked networking. She would do a monthly meetings where it was just women networking. And those meetings were full. I feel like there were 50 people. And that was back how many years ago? I don't know what she's doing now, if she's still doing them. I don't live anywhere near there, unfortunately. But anyways, so, oh, right. So I was where was I going with that? Squirrel. So I remember at one of those meetings, meeting Nisreen Mama Foda. And so her and I wanted to get together outside of that, after the fact, just to connect and learn. And I was in professional organizer mode. I was in recently separated custody battle, and I was in it. So I was more in survival mode of just live and be the best mom I can be and make sure that my boys are taken care of and make enough money to get by. But I wasn't in like full out career focused mode. I'm still not. Like, they are still my priority, but the drama and all of that stuff is not alongside that it was with all of that. That's been like a decade since. So anyways, when we met, she was talking about the different things that she did, and she had a meditation group. She was like, you should come. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't really have much experience. And she was like, it doesn't matter. There's people who have no experience. There's people who have great experience. There's people in between. Like, you should come. And I was like, yes, I should. So anyways, my friends, two of my greatest friends still to this day, Charlene and Andrea, we used to every month, we were like, okay, because it was in a town that was about 20 minutes, half hour from us. So we would carpool. It was like our thing. And we would go down to Nisreen's place in Oakville, and we'd go down to the basement, and we would meditate with this group of people. It wasn't a huge group. It was always like a nice group. Like, I feel like 8 to 10 of us. And we would sit in a circle. She would do a guided meditation, and then we would pull. She had some like angel cards or oracle cards, whatever. I can't remember. I think hers were mostly angel cards. But anyways, so we would do that, and then we would share what we experienced. And oh, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And the visions and the clarity and the insights and just the acceleration of my spiritual journey began, I would say, there. Like, it was incredible. So we went, I don't even know how long we went, many, many, many months. I maybe even want to say years. I don't know. But around the same time, my neighbor had mentioned this app, this Insight Timer app, and that I feel like she used it with her kids, and her kids were younger than mine, but to help them calm down at night. And I was like, oh, yes, because my boys are always wild at night. So I started using Insight Timer, this free app, for nightly guided sleep meditations for my boys. So everybody would get into their beds, and then I would put the phone out in the hallway. We would pick a meditation and then I would play it, or I'd put it on the railing, actually, in the old townhouse. I loved it in Milton. Oh, I miss that place. Anyways, so I would put it there, and then they would fall asleep, usually within like 2 minutes. It was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, where has this been all my life? So yeah, special mention to moms of babies and even young kids. Just chuck that on. It is, and my boys were so difficult to get to sleep, like hours every single night. And that was just this magic switch. But anyways, so from there, over the years, I grew more curious, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to do some for like spirit animals. I'm going to do whatever. So I would do those. And then so I worked with these lovely ladies. So Kaylee and Sue, and we did workshops together. So we offered life coaching to clients. And in the meantime, we did these virtual circles, these workshops. So it would be like finding your Fab Five, satisfy your soul. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Oh, it all started with Send My Soulmate that Sue and I collaborated on. And so when we did those, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a guided visualization for them, and I'll just like talk them through. So I feel like Send My Soulmate was that gateway into Insight Timer as a teacher, because as time went on, it didn't happen right away. Like, it didn't happen until much after the fact. I don't know how many workshops we had done, and then I had started doing my own thing. But at one point I was like, I think I'm going to get my tracks. I'm going to look into what it takes to be an Insight Timer teacher and see if I can get my tracks up there. So, and alongside that was happening my Reiki certification. I did my 1-2, and then a few years later I did my level 3-4, like my master teacher. Then I did my meditation certification, and yeah, I just had life happening. And then I had moved, because I think it was when I was here down to Port Dover. So anyways, at one point I was like, why don't I get those tracks up there? Then maybe I can actually like monetize and just leave that running in the background. People can use whatever they want. And yeah, so I started uploading the tracks that we were using within the workshops, because why not, right? Anyways, so that I kind of did those, and then I moved away from it and was in it with like getting settled into into Norfolk County, getting my Reiki practice set up, just it still running, parenting 100% my boys, and meanwhile meeting this new community and just trying to settle all the things. So that kind of was like, okay, cool, that's there. So I had like those first few tracks that sat there for a while. And then as time went on, and I started personally offering meditation nights, circles, either through the local yoga studio and then eventually through just in my backyard. And then now I collaborate with Hannah, and we do like all the things: breath work, energy work, and then visualization. So anyways, I was like, you know what, I'm going to focus on these. So I did a whole bunch, and I got into like the regular pattern of writing. So before I would write them, I'd type them up on my computer, then I'd set up my little station in the closet. And I would have the what I had written on my screen while my phone was set up recording. And so then I would read it. So now in the last couple of years, I just flow. Like I get an idea, and then it's probably not almost, I need to stop saying it's channeling at that point. It's just in that flow state where it just comes. So anyways, back to Insight Timer. So this app I love it. I flippin' love that I get to be a teacher on it. I love the other teachers I've met. I love the people who come, like the people who are a part of the community. So, okay, fast forward. They introduced the ability for teachers to create courses on there. So we can create a course. Of course, it has to be appropriate and related to what and who you are and what you have to offer. And obviously to the community. But so you can create courses, you can create just tracks, premium tracks. But then there's now the ability to do lives. And I don't know how long it's been, maybe a year, maybe just over a year, just under a year, somewhere around that. Anyways, but I personally started doing them. Actually, I don't even know if it's been a year yet, but no, I don't. I think maybe anyways, I don't even know. It doesn't matter. The fact is, you can hop onto this Insight Timer app and you can look at who is live in that moment and what they're doing. They have people doing yoga, they have sound healing, they have guided visualizations, they have talks. So what I've been doing is a guided visualization, but beginning and end, it's much like an in-person meditation group where people introduce themselves, and then at the end they can share their experiences. And it's very cool because it's just a broadcast. It's almost like YouTube. So it's not like you're on Zoom and I can see your faces. All I can see are these little icons. So I'm always like squinting and going, okay, I don't know what they look like. But the powerful part, I have been loving doing these lives in the past. I'm going to say I really have loved it and enjoyed it over the past 6 to 8 months. Just before the summer, I took a break in the summer because my house is loud in the summer. And so since the fall, I picked back up again. But I have loved it. And the people, so you just put like whatever your meditation is going to be, and whoever shows up, shows up. They can RSVP. The way you make money from those, people have to do a donation, which is fine, like whatever. But it is so magical what happens on those lives. So first off, there's people from all around the world. Usually when I do them, I don't even know, Australia, India, all over the US, all over Europe. It's so cool. Central America, South America. It's the Canadians, of course. Anyways, so it is this beautiful journey. And I always ask people like if there's something in particular that drew them there or something that they need. And then I can because I just flow with those as well, which is so funny coming from being a professional organizer and having that personality where I always mapped things out like so precisely to, 10 minutes before the Insight Timer live, looking at the description and like, okay, cool. What am I going to do about this? Let's see what comes up, and then just rolling. But it's beautiful because there's so much space for magical things to happen, which if you listen to my previous, I think it was like 2 or 3 ago, podcast about the fire horse meditation, go back and listen to that because that was pure magic what happened on that one. Anyways, so if you have not already checked out Insight Timer, I highly recommend downloading the free app. You can choose a membership and it's minimal. Like I feel like it's less than $100 for the year. And then you have access to all these premium tracks. So, and then I guess like there's other perks as well. But I have a free one and it has been incredible. There's visualizations. Okay, let me just talk about the app for a minute before I shut this off. So this platform, you can search. So they have categories. They have like music, they have guided, they have sleep, they have for kids. What are some of the other categories? Sound healing, energy healing. They have different categories. And then within that, there's a search tool. So you can search if you just want to be like, how to find love. Not that I always do that one, but whatever. You can also use private mode so people can't see what you're doing. Anyways, so you can search by your very own selection, and then it'll just list a whole bunch of options. Then you can further filter it by length. You can put, if you want to hear a male voice, a female voice. If you want background music, I think that's a filter. Or not, you can, anyways, but there's like all this, so you can drill down. There are hundreds of thousands of tracks, free tracks and premium, but there's way more free tracks on there. And it can help you like ground yourself, protect your energy, calm anxiety, help you with sleep. When I went to Bali and it was a 12-hour difference, I could not sleep. Like every night I woke up, I think it was 3 a.m. I think that was the magic time, 3 a.m. And I could not get back to sleep and I knew it. So I'm like, well, you know what? And I just chucked on my Insight Timer. Actually, Andrew Johnston is one of the teachers there. I think he's Scottish. And he was my go-to because I would eventually fall asleep listening to his voice. So in Bali, I was like, oh my God, give me Andrew Johnston. I need to sleep. I'm so tired. Because we were getting up at like 6 o'clock to do our tours every day, or earlier, or maybe an hour late. It was crazy. The one day I think we got up at 4. I think that was near the end though, because I felt like I had a few hours sleep. But I'm like, if people who know me know I sleep like I value, I know how important sleep is. So I sleep like 7 to 9 hours every night. I love it. And so when I was in Bali, I think I was there almost 2 weeks or 2 weeks. I was going on like 3 to 4 hours sleep a night. I was fine during the day because it was sunny and we were doing things. But when I got home, man, I was just like, oh. But so the point was, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get back to sleep, but I chucked on those meditations and I knew like that voice, I was like, give me Andrew Johnston. And yeah. And even the times I didn't fall back to sleep, my body was still in that relaxed state, that resting state that I'm like, okay, I'm not scrolling and blue lighting myself. I was like eyes closed, listening to this beautiful music and this voice. And anyway, so I'm going to stop here. I hope you check out Insight Timer. If you do, feel free to find me, give me a follow, check out some of my tracks. Some of them are old. I did an edit a few months ago and I deleted a bunch of tracks that I didn't like the background music. But some of them are quite old. So, and it's neat to listen and to see. I mean, it would be cool to kind of compare. And I do need to get another kind of slew on there. I have a course up there and I do a weekly live. So anyways, okay. Thank you so much for listening and I'll catch you next time. Peace out. Thanks for hanging out and listening to my wild and wacky Tam Talks. Follow Tam Talks to be notified of new episodes. Peace out.